Welcome Melanie O'Connor, Managing Director of the Academy Network and Co-Chair of Macquarie University's Women in Leadership Ignite Your Strengths Conference. Melanie, it's quite an inspiring name from a conference. Can you explain it to us?
Well, the idea for the conference comes from the fact that we know that a lot of women fall into the trap of sort of thinking about their development more from a deficit perspective. So by that I mean they think about, well, what am I doing right? What have I got to get better at? So their start point is a bit of a negative view. We want to turn that on its head and say, your start point is understanding what are you good at? What are your strengths? What have you got? And once you understand that, what then are the opportunities that you can match those strengths up with and grab?
There is an emphasis on women finding and making opportunities for themselves in their careers being discussed at this conference. Can you give us a few examples of opportunities that women could keep an eye out for and how they could act upon these opportunities?
Well, it's an interesting situation, this one, because the research is quite clear on this, that we know that many women in thinking about opportunities will want to be 100% ready for them, or even 120% ready for them before they feel ready to take the risk of putting themselves out there for that opportunity. And we also know, the research is quite clear on this, that most men don't do the same thing. So I call this a stretch and a match. That women like to see that, well, this is a generalisation, but a lot of women will hold themselves back by thinking there has to be a perfect match for an opportunity before they're ready to take it on. Whereas we know a lot of men are much more likely to take the stretch. So what we're trying to encourage people, the sort of opportunities we'd like people to think about is, where is there certainly some match, they understand what their strengths are, but where can they also stretch themselves? And how can you then be active in actually seeing the opportunities that will help stretch those capabilities? So it might be things like, can I see an opportunity here for a particular business issue that needs to be resolved? Can you actually suggest that you form the project team and start to actively work around that, which will give you some opportunities to both demonstrate your existing strengths and learn some new ones from the project team? Or it might be about seeing a senior leader that you admire, who has a particular skill set that matches your particular strengths, and asking if you can shadow that particular person for a week or over the course of a month, or attend external meetings with them or internal meetings with them, where you're actually starting to be able to, again, build on the particular strengths that you've got. Or it might simply be about seeing a promotion and thinking, well, I'm 50% of the way there, and actually still putting your hat in the ring to go for that, just for the experience of actually going through the interview, and you might be surprised what comes out of it at the end.
Now, negotiation is traditionally not really an area of strength for women. This is one of the topics being explored at Women in Leadership Ignite Your Strengths conference. Why do you think women need to build on the negotiation ability?
Well, probably one of the most well-known issues we've got at the moment around gender equity is the inequity in remuneration. So we know that, for example, in the latest results, that Australian women are still being paid 85 to 87% of what males are being paid to do exactly the same job. We also know about the inequities around the number of women in executive positions and on board positions. And it's quite interesting with the research that's been done around how women tend to negotiate. Now, all these are generalisations, and clearly the individuals are different. But overall, we know that in going into negotiating situations, that women generally start with a lower pitch and look to try and work their way up, or assume that there's going to be a reasonable conversation or a dialogue happening with the person on the other side of the table. Again, the research shows us that generally men go in with a much higher ambit claim. Now, that ambit claim will get negotiated down, but they will still end up with a higher end point than the woman who has started 20% lower. And this is very evident around contract negotiations, around remuneration negotiation, and around promotion negotiations. So that is a skill that I think women will benefit from enormously around looking at how to ignite their strengths for leadership development.
And lastly, can you just let us know when the Women and Leadership Ignite Your Strengths conference is taking place?
Certainly, the conference is being held on the 28th and 29th of July 2011 at the Sofitel Sydney Wentworth.
Thank you.